Welcome into Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I'm Meghan Payton. We're here to recap the Steelers versus Ravens game, a nail biter to say the least. I swear to God, I have no nails anymore after that game. We're here to talk about the Steelers' victory against the Ravens, but I am asking you right now, get your one-word reactions in to this nerve-wracking, crazy game. This is our pinned comment. Let me know what you guys are feeling. This was very much needed from the Pittsburgh Steelers. They needed a win very bad. And by the way, it feels really good coming against a division rival like the Ravens. It came close. 19-20 Steelers beat them by 1 point. And it really came down to the final seconds of this game. We're going to talk about what went right, what went wrong, but hey, it's going to be a victory Monday tomorrow. I'm feeling really good about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I cannot believe the game ended the way it did. I'm happy we're not Ravens fans over here, because if I was part of the Baltimore Ravens fan group, player group, I'd be a little upset about this game. I am going to tell you my one word. So if you have not gotten your one word reaction in, go to the comments right now. I told you it's the pinned comment. Let me know what you think. But I am going to go with wow. I've used the term nerve-wracking before. I've used the term like nail biting, but we're just going to stick with wow today, because I think that it has to be noted that the Steelers get themselves in these kind of situations a lot, but this gutsy call by John Harbaugh was probably the craziest call I've seen it in a sec. And so here's the thing, though. When plays like that work out, everyone's praising him as the best coach. Good for him, going for a crazy call like that. But then when it doesn't work out, everyone's obviously going to be upset. But hey, as Steelers fans are probably thinking right now, glad that happened. They had a chance at the very end to tie the game 20-20. They say, nope, we're going to trust in our quarterback, Lamar Jackson, and Akello Witherspoon. Hey, we've got to give him some credit. And there's a couple things that he did wrong in this game, but he did not come up short in that 2-point conversion play. It didn't work out for the Ravens, and I'm very happy that it did. I think there's a lot more to talk about. I think Big Ben had a better day. And, at his age, there's going to be times where he struggles. There's going to be times where he's, looking like the old Ben Roethlisberger that we know and love. But I'd say today was pretty good. 21 out of 31 attempts, 236 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's always big. And a QB rating of 111.8. So we've got to give Big Ben some credit. And I think that it's really important that he does do well, because, hey, we've been talking about it all season here on Steelers Talk, but it seems to be a little bit more official. If you missed it, reports are coming out saying that Big Ben is going to be leaving after this year. This is something that I'd say is probably pretty expected. He was asked about it, though, in his post-game press conference. He didn't want to touch on it. He said, hey, we'll get into that later. We're working on our next game against the Vikings. So, of course, as expected, he's not going to give us much, but I'd say it's pretty clear that he's out after this year. So I think the Steelers are in a dire need, must-win situation. Of course, Big Ben wants to leave like every guy does. He wants to win a Super Bowl and ride out into the sun. Is that going to happen? I don't know. But I am saying that Big Ben has every need, desire, and want to win. But the question is whether or not it is his last season. I'm going to ask you guys, would you like to see Ben Roethlisberger back in Pittsburgh next year? We've asked you guys before if you think he will, but I'm asking you if you want him to stay. Type Y for yes if you'd like Big Ben back, or type N for no. Another guy that I'd say played really tough today was Chase Claypool. Now, we've talked a little bit about his declining performance this year versus last year, and the way that Big Ben and him haven't been able to connect as much. But he didn't have a lot of receptions today, but the 2 that he had counted, 52 yards today. I think that he deserves some credit. And if he can come in and out like that, that's all the Steelers need. They need those big plays. They need to get down the field. That's where Chase Claypool's used at. And I think that it worked out today against the Ravens. But I'd say the wide receiver of the day today was Diontae Johnson. And man, were fans upset with him earlier, because Big Ben probably had his best throw of the season. This was earlier in the first quarter. In the end zone, Diontae Johnson drops the pass. I mean, it's unfortunate. He's been so on point this whole year, though, so it's going to happen. He definitely made up for it later in this game. He had 2 touchdowns today, 8 receptions, 105 yards. So definitely credit to Diontae Johnson coming back after, a bad play, but he's human. There's going to be mess ups, and that's okay. Diontae Johnson still gets, I'd say, the wide receiver game ball. But ultimately, this team needed this win. It was a must-win game for the Steelers. If you watched the game on the broadcast, you heard Tony Romo say that a lot during this whole game, saying, hey, in my opinion, the Steelers will make the playoffs maybe, or have a chance of keeping their playoff hopes alive if they win this game. But if they don't, it's over. And to be honest, I agree with what Tony Romo said. I think that the Steelers had to win in order to stay factors in this very competitive AFC. Right now, the Steelers are still in the hunt. They are not, if the playoffs were today, they would not be in it, but they are definitely getting a little bit closer at 6-5-1. They are right there. They've got to beat the Bengals. They've got to beat, the Chargers, Bills. These are all people that are in competition for that wild card spot. Now, obviously, they'd want to win the division. Ravens leading at 8-4. We're going to talk about the division standings later on in this. But for right now, we should be excited about a Steelers 20-19 victory against their big rivals, the Ravens. We've got to talk about defense, and a big day it was for Chris Wormley and a lot of other guys. But first, as we talk about playoffs, do you guys want to get some cool Steelers gear for the playoffs if you think that they're going to be in it, which I do think that they will? Go to chatsports.com/Steelers hoodie. You can get up to 50% off on really cool Steelers gear. This isn't like some weird off-brand site that we're leading you to. It's Fanatics, guys. And they've got a great deal right now. They've got zip-ups, they've got pullovers, and they've got a great women's line that I've told you about. It's the Erin Andrews line. We'll have that in the link as well. Make sure you go and check them out and get up to 50% off of any cool Steelers hoodies. Oh, here's the Erin Andrews one that I told you that I love. I have this one. I have to get it in Steelers, but I do have this in Saints. I love it. Erin Andrews is crushing the game for women's sports gear. So if you have a girl in your life, go get her this for the holidays. Chatsports.com/Steelers hoodies. Now let's move on to what the defense did. I'd say that they struggled a bit in the first half. Devontae Freeman playing well. They kind of came together, I'd say, at the end. They allowed 326 yards, 219 passing yards, 107 rushing yards, 8 out of 16 third downs, and 1 takeaway. So these stats, when you look at it, it's not great. But what I will say is that they were able to eventually fix the time of possession towards the end of the game, because the defense was out on the field a lot the first half. I think it was 6 minutes and 25 seconds that the Steelers offense was on the field during the first half. So your defense is going to get tired. You can't expect them to play as dominant as they could if the offense isn't taking up any time on the field. Now, TJ Watt, who I didn't think he was going to be playing today, and he did. And obviously the Steelers were very grateful to have him there. 6 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and 6 quarterback hits. Man, it is good that he was back and ready to play. And guys, how about Chris Wormley? I mean, he had the game of his life tonight. I think this was probably his best game in his career. He had 2.5 sacks. He had 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, and this Steelers defense just played well. They had 6 sacks in total. That is crazy. And this is the Pittsburgh Steelers defense that we know and love. And guys, there's a lot more football to be heard and to be played in this NFL 2021 season. Playoffs coming up pretty soon. So if you guys have not joined the Steelers Talk family, now's the time. Do you like the Steelers? Do you want to stay up to date on the news and rumors and everything? I promise here that's what our job is. We are here to give you all of that. So go to youtube.com/Steelers TV, hit the red button, whatever's easiest, but make sure you are in the know on all things Pittsburgh Steelers. I promise we will keep you guys up to date here. And by the way, as always, if there's anything specific you guys want us to talk about, this is where go to the comments, let us know. We're here to do videos that you guys want. That's how it works here at Chat Sports. sports. It's very fun. It's in your hands. I'd say, we can't talk about this game and not mention some of the negative things. I do think missed tackles is still a bit of a problem for Pittsburgh. We saw this earlier in the game, I'd say, especially that first quarter, maybe a little bit in the second quarter. Just, I'd say Witherspoon, and by the way, he won the game maybe for the Steelers, but he struggled a bit. Joe Schobert struggled a little bit against Devontae Freeman, who is a really good back. But I'd say the fact that they were able to hold him to 52 yards is probably pretty good. Obviously, this guy's splitting reps with Lamar Jackson, who can run like a running back as well. But it was a problematic, I'd say, earlier in the day. He also did get one touchdown. So this is something that Mike Tomlin and his team, they have to figure out. If they want to, make the playoffs, and if they want to stay in the playoffs, they can't miss simple tackles. Now, I will say, again, a problem that we keep talking about in 2021, I'd say from a lot of teams too, were the refs bad again. And I hate talking about this in segments, but it almost feels ridiculous to not mention. And this is not just for the Steelers. We are seeing this all around the league. I'm not trying to dog completely on the refs, but that was a bad Ray McLeod catch called back, in my opinion. I don't know. There wasn't enough there. It wasn't obvious. You can't call that back, I'd say. Kendrick Green face mask, another one that was a little iffy. And then lastly, there was an offsides from the Ravens. I feel like that should have been called. Now, these weren't anything crazy. This wasn't minor, but the Steelers fans were upset in the stadium. I don't know what they were saying. I think they were saying, "You suck, refs." Anyway, it's a problem that's been going on in the 2020 NFL season. Hopefully, it gets a little bit more cleaner, but it is something that we have to point out. I hope that it gets cleaner as they go on to finish this season, because they have a competitive AFC North. If they want to win this division, they're very close. I mean, look how competitive this North is. 8-4 the Ravens right now, 7-5 the Bengals. Steelers are right there, 6-5-1. The Browns at 6-6. I'm telling you guys, this tie against the Lions is going to matter. So I just hope it matters in a positive way. They've got a few more difficult games coming up, guys. We're in the last 5 final stretch. They've got the Vikings on Thursday night. They've got the Titans back at home for Tennessee. Then they go on the road again to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Then they end with 2 divisional games, one at home against the Browns, and then the last one away at Baltimore. So the Steelers have a tough last 5 games. We've talked about how difficult their schedule was before the season even started. It's hard. They've got a lot of work cut out for them, but this is a good start, guys. Steelers needed this win bad. They get it, 20-19. I don't care how they get it. A win is a win, and I'm feeling good if I'm Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So I will ask you guys, as we get into the final stretch of the regular season, what is the Steelers record going to be? We asked this question a few times, but I feel like now it can be a little bit more positive after this big divisional win. So go to the comments right now. Let me know what you guys think the Steelers record will end up as.